Is Peacemaker about to be the most important character in the DCU? Hello, everyone. Welcome to Digital Charcuterie. My name is James. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new to the channel and you like the DCU, DCEU, Peacemaker, and more, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be talking about it, discussing it on this channel. I love Peacemaker Season 1, and one of my favorite superhero movies is The Suicide Squad. I love The Suicide Squad, and Peacemaker was a breakout for me in that one. I think Bloodsport was my favorite character in that, but I love Peacemaker. And then, obviously, before that movie came out, we heard they were going to do a series about Peacemaker. And there was that lie. I don't know if you remember, but they were going to say some of it would be a flashback, and because you didn't know what was going to happen in the Suicide Squad. And of course, he dies in the Suicide Squad, but is resurrected at the end to take care of some business for Amanda Waller and company. And I love the way Peacemaker, the series, kind of played off of how the show went on and stuff like that. And I love that they turned this ultimately a villain in the Suicide Squad into a hero, into a dickhead hero in the Peacemaker. And I just thought that season 1, the series was fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to season 2 and what they're going to do with season 2, especially with where Amanda Waller is, and obviously bringing in Rick Flag Sr. And now we've established this new DCU. Peacemaker season 1, of course, took place in a DCEU, and they're going to retcon some things and make things work and retrofit them in to this new DCU universe that is existing, that we're all witnessing and watching, and really excited to see where they take things and what they're going to go from here. But one thing they also have been saying is that this where this season kind of goes, and John Cena acknowledged this yesterday on a red carpet interview, is this season is not going to end the way season 1 ended, where season 1 was kind of like, it kind of concluded the season, right? It was all culminating in this one big epic battle. This season's something else. This is going to lead to something grander in the DCU. What that is remains to be seen. I think there might be some hints here and there that we're going to get, but we're going to learn a lot more things are going to happen. And I think it's going to be a really exciting season. And the finale of this season hopefully feels like it's an ending, but also leaves the door open for where our heroes and metahumans are going to go in the future. I want to bring up this little article from comicbook.com here with John Cena and James Gunn. James Gunn dropped a major tease for Peacemaker's DCU future after season 2. Despite only being one movie in, there are quite a few fires for the DC universe to put out. For starters, James Gunn makes a major change to Kryptonian lore in Superman, having Jor-El and Lara Lor-Van send their son to Earth to conquer it rather than protect it. Supergirl is going to have to tackle that issue if it wants its titular character to have a future in the franchise, because at the moment it's unclear why the Man of Steel's cousin fails to tell him about his true mission. However, Supergirl isn't the only character who appears in Superman with a dark cloud hanging over them. Christopher Smith, aka Peacemaker, makes a brief appearance in Superman, taking time out of his busy day to attack the hero while he's down on TV after his parents' message becomes public knowledge. The brief cameo is a great way to cut the tension, but it creates more questions than it does answers, as Gunn's DCU appears to be picking and choosing which parts of the old canon it wants to use, while Peacemaker Season 2 is sure to provide some insight into how the titular antihero becomes a notable figure in Superman's reality. Gunn is aware that John Cena's character's story may be too big for the small screen. During a roundtable attended by Comic Book, Gunn was asked whether Peacemaker will ever star in his own feature-length film again, or if he's stuck on HBO Max for good. And he provided a pretty interesting answer. I actually know the answer to that question, he revealed, and I'm not at liberty to say. Under penalty of Safran punishment with a loss of my knuckle every time I give away something, Peter Safran will take away another joint of my finger. It's very painful. He uses a cigar cutter. The playful response is Gunn's way of saying it's too early to reveal the truth. However, it would have been easier for the filmmakers to drop the hammer and explain that Peacemaker is a TV character and nothing more. Gunn's answer opens the door for the 11th Street kids to appear in a movie in the future, potentially one that brings back other shady characters. And there you have it from the horse's mouth himself. There's James Gunn talking about the future of possible theatrical future of Peacemaker for me, I think Peacemaker would be great on the big screen. Again, whether it's his own movie or not, I think a solo outing for Peacemaker might not be ideal. And for this one reason, I think he could headline his own movie, but he's just headlined 2 seasons, or 1 season, and about to headline in 1 week the second season of his own show. And if you're a consumer, if you're a viewer of these things, you look at it and you say, why would I go see a Peacemaker movie when I watched him for 2 years on TV? And I think a movie like The Mandalorian and Grogu, the new Star Wars movie, is going to have the same kind of effect to it as well, especially when you look at a movie like Superman, which is the first Superman solo film we've got in over a decade. It's the birth of the new cinematic universe. It had a lot of positive critical response for going into it, and yet the movie, while it's doing very well, it's not going gangbusters, it's not breaking records, it's not doing any of that. I mean, it's doing personal records and DC best and things like that, but it's not, it's not changing the game of people going to the theater. And the theater experience has changed for people, especially when you look at the fact that on August 15th, tomorrow, Superman's going to be arriving on digital. The digital release is tomorrow, a week and like a month and a few days after its theatrical beginning. It's going to be on streaming already, like digital purchase already. And then you take into account a month after that, so 2 months after theatrical release, it's going to be available to buy on physical. When I was growing up, movies and stuff came out much later, but towards the end of the VHS run, you had to wait a year to purchase the VHS. It would appear you could rent it earlier. I think it was like a 6-month window to rent, and then you could buy those ones. They would be used. Sometimes you can get them used in between the window of rental and coming out on VHS. You could purchase them used, but you had to wait a year to buy them for the most part, buy them new anyway. Now, 2 months later, you got this. Disney's a little bit better with how not bad. They're a little bit, they've been holding off a little bit more, whereas Thunderbolts still isn't on digital. You still have to wait. It's not even on Disney Plus, I don't believe. And actually that's not true. You can still buy it, but it's like $35 Canadian to buy Thunderbolts on Apple Store thing, which is insane, but it's still not around. There's no physical for that, and it's not streaming on Disney yet, so they're holding back a little bit on that. I would suspect Fantastic Four, you're looking at like October, November for that, so they're waiting on it. But the fact that you're going to have a character who's lived and breathed, the Suicide Squad, his intro, yes, it was theatrical, but it was also during COVID, and I believe it was same day HBO Max and theater back then. In Canada, we weren't privileged enough for that, but in the States it was like that. So even that one doesn't actually count. So you have this character though who's lived and breathed on HBO Max, and you're going to put him on the big screen. Why are people going to pay that money to see this character on the big screen unless it's something bigger? And that's why I think it's got to be a team up. He's got to be with somebody else, which I think, obviously they do in the DCU. He might be part of the super family. We don't know. I mean, he's not part of the super family, but he could be part of the super family in the way that Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific were in the super family. Could be a part of that. So I'm really intrigued and curious to see what they're going to do with him there. Again, let me know, would you guys go see a Peacemaker movie in the theater? I think a lot of people watching this probably would. Like I said, I would, but I think just like general audiences, you look at it, you say, well, I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait a month. I'm going to wait 2 months for the streaming release of his or whatever, because it's happening. It's going to happen. Superman will probably be on HBO Max in a couple months. And so, you got to wonder. It's all changed. The game has changed. But if the story is good enough to warrant it on the big screen, I can see that happening. And I guess we'll get an answer to this very soon, probably sooner than later. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Hit the like button, subscribe button. And until next time, may you be the master of your own universe.